Good day everyone, welcome back to my channel. Now this come unprepared. I was actually reading my previous video comments and you guys have actually prompted me a lot of questions which trigger my mind to actually do more. So just to answer some of the questions, I have done some interaction with my viewers or subscribers, to Damien, to Ivan Ramos and to Kaboom. Now I'll answer your questions in detail later. Now just in general, I noticed that there are a number of viewers out there, or should I say subscribers, right? They are not aware of how I structure my videos. Often being asked all those questions like how do I actually get this so-called the cable converters, and how do I actually plug things like that. Now if you were to actually head to my website, I would just show you on my website itself, right? This is actually the main website. Now if you were to see, there is a playlist here. I have actually grouped all my videos accordingly, especially for the older version of the Uni Fans itself, which is actually the SL120. Now I have a full playlist, as you can see over here. It's all listed over here. The do's and don'ts, how do you actually do the connection, and other stuff that actually played on the controller itself. And when you click on certain videos, take for example this controller itself, right? Now there'll be people asking me about questions on where to get the cables and such. Now if you were to actually read my description over here, see, it will show you where to actually purchase this cables and such. Heading back to the questions whereby Damien, you're actually asking me regarding about the Bora fans. Can I actually connect the Bora fan into the L Connect 2 using the AL controller? The answer is yes. I will go into details and why you can actually do that. Now, before I touch on to the Bora digital fan, just in general, I did a video regarding about the SL controller itself and how much power it can actually produce. Now for those of you who are actually curious, right, you can click on my top right hand corner whereby I'll leave the URL, have a look at that. Each SL controller itself, right, can produce up to 10.5 ampere of aRGB load, and each of this output will produce 2.625, which is divided from 10.5 in total. Now on the SL fan itself, right, it's rated drawing aRGB current is 0.65 ampere. In fact, it's actually stated on the fan itself here, as you can see. LED 5 volt, 0.65 ampere. So if you do total up 4, right, it's actually going to draw 2.6 ampere, which is below this over here, each output. And how do I actually know this? Because I've actually used a multimeter to test on the drawing amperage. So it fits the bill. Now for AL itself, same thing. I did the measurements through the multimeter and deriving that the AL controller, right, hold a bigger charge or slightly larger charge, which is actually at 10.85 ampere, and each of this output, right, is producing 2.7125 ampere, and on the AL fan itself, right, is 0.66 ampere. And how do I actually get the specs? It's not written on the fan itself. I went to Lian Li's website. As you can see, this is actually the AL120, and if you do notice, the input current for the LED is 0.66 ampere. And when I use the multimeter, right, yes, it does check out. It's about 0.62 to 63 ampere for each fan. Now back to the Bora itself. If you were to take a look at the Bora itself, right, let me just do this. Its drawing ampere on the aRGB is actually 0.2 ampere, which is lesser than the SL or the AL. So definitely either controller, the SL or AL, will be more than happy enough to actually cater for 3 or 4 fans daisy chain with the Bora digital. And having to say this, right, do take note on this. If you were to actually read your manual, this is actually the Bora manual, you have this specific cable here whereby it allows you to chain 3 Bora digital fans to the standard aRGB connector. This is actually to your motherboard instead of using the controller provided. So with this said, right, if you are able to get your hands on this aRGB kit, this is actually meant for you to connect components like the Galahad, the streamers and etc. to your controller. And why do I say this, right? Now, if I were to scroll down, there is a section where it says Spora. See? It allows you to actually make use of the cable. You don't have to actually do your own crimping of cables and such. If you can get hold of this aRGB cable, right, you can connect using daisy chain and then connect to your controller. I mean the Uni Fan controllers, either the SL or the AL, doesn't matter. I hope this answers your question. Question coming from Ivan Ramos, and you asked me that does the L Connect 2 offer additional lighting modes than the L Connect? Now I'm actually using the L Connect 2 application. On the L Connect 2 itself, right, all the modes that I see is similar to L Connect, the original application. The only difference is that when you set to static colors, right, let me just apply and let you see. See, it goes individually. Okay, sorry about this. I'll set it to default. Now, as you can see, you can set individually, and this is how. Let's say, for example, I were to do this and apply. See, it changes. Now, orientation might be different when I do this on the controller itself. It should be the other way around. So do take note on this, on the orientation. So you can actually set individually. Let's say I set the middle to purple. See, it changed to purple. So this is actually the only difference that it will do. And other than that, right, I find that the rest are of the same. Hope this answers your question. Another good question coming from Kaboom, and you have actually asked me, can you connect the AL120 fans that is daisy chain and connect to your crosshair controller, which is actually the crosshair lightning knot, if I'm not wrong. Now, I can't give you a definite answer on that, but I wouldn't advise you to do so. Reason being, right, at the beginning when I actually explained the load on the controller itself to Damien, now each controller holds a certain capacity whereby it provides sufficient and not overloaded current to the fans itself. So if you to daisy chain all these fans, right, imagine that the AL itself each is actually 0.66 ampere, and if you do total up, it's actually more than 2.6 ampere for 4 fans. So if you do connect to the crosshair controller, right, what if the load is below 2.7 ampere? Then you will damage the unit. So not to do that. Now, another reason why is this fans drawing so much aRGB load, based on the fact that I have actually illustrated that individual fans itself, right, can do individual controls, as in like on statics they can set individually, because this fans here, right, be it the AL or the SL, they have a built-in chip on each single fan. Let me just demonstrate to you. Now, this is actually another kind of fan. This is actually the EK Evo that I've actually plugged to the SL. Now, if you look at the controller itself, right, now this is output 1, this is output 2. So if I were to do output 1 with static and I have to set default, see, you can control individually because it has a chip to actually recognize the program from L Connect 2. So that's why you can actually do, like, you know, if you were to do yellow at the middle, you can do that. On the SL or on the AL, it doesn't matter. Both of these fans will react this way. But for other fans that you want to connect, right, it's different. They do not have chipset. That's why their drawing amperage is lower. So let me just switch to output 2. If I were to set to static, right, if you notice, if I were to apply, okay, let's say I put to default and I were to apply all, see, it only changes one color, which is actually the front color. No matter what you change in the middle or, you know, on the third fan, I mean over at the L Connect 2 itself, right, it doesn't change. It will stick on blue unless I change this to be the front. See, it changed. It only takes in one instructions, that's it. This is why it makes so unique on the SL120 and the AL120. That's the big difference, and that's why it's drawing a higher aRGB load. Now, there is another concern whereby if you were to actually connect the AL fans or the SL fan through the control unit, having the power supply through the unit itself, right, is perfectly safe. But one thing I am not able to actually explain to you. Now, this is actually due to uncertainties of other controllers. I'm just going to illustrate to you what if you were to actually bypass the controller and to make use of your own controller, which I've actually connected here. Now, the controller itself, right, on the be it the SL or the AL Uni Controller, you have this cable whereby you can actually connect to your motherboard and let your motherboard utilities or the aRGB application to control the aRGBs. Somehow when I connect, okay, this is actually not connected to the motherboard itself. Instead, I connect to my own controller. This is actually from the Galahad. Now, take note on this. On the L Connect 2 itself, right, if I were to switch, okay, let me just set all this to default first. Apply to all. Apply to all. Now, there's this function whereby I say bypass and to let your motherboard sync, right? Instead of the motherboard utility, which I've mentioned, I'm going to use my controller, which is the Galahad controller. Now, as you can see, this is actually what happened. It doesn't sync up. Else, if I were to use other fans, right, it does. See, if I were to do this, see, it does. No problem. It's only on the SL itself. So you might want to consider, see, it reacts only on one. The rest, it will just stay. So you might want to reconsider your options whether to use the Corsair Lightning Knot, because they have their own sets of instructions. Kaboom, I hope I've actually answered your question. Now, this next question, right, is general to every one of you. Now, you've actually asked me again and again, can I actually make use of another type of branding fan, which is actually 5V aRGB, to be connected to this controller itself. Now, be it the SL or the AL itself, right, the answer is yes and no. Now, why do I say this? Before you connect any other types of brand onto the control unit, make sure you know what's the aRGB load. Now, for example, I dare to make use of this EK S or EK Evo. Reason being, right, on the specification itself, right, it does tell me what is the LED drawn power. This is 0.28, which is below a SL fan or a AL fan. So you can actually do that, not a problem. And the trick is, now, for any types of fans, some of them have this so-called daisy chain aRGB connectors. These are the standard aRGB connectors. So you can daisy chain them. Then by the end of one of the cables itself, right, I've actually done a cable, or you can actually get the aRGB kit from Lian Li. Now, I've actually done this because I'm not fortunate enough to grab the aRGB kit locally. So what I did is actually I did the conversion. So basically what I did is, see, I just plug, and the conversion goes to here. Now, how do I actually make this cable? Throughout the years, I've been actually doing cable creams for my friends. So I collect all this kind of cables. So that's why I'm actually able to cut them and to fit in, or should I say crimp it with this JST03 connectors, which allows me to connect to the control unit itself. Now, there are pre-ready made cables for you, but the thing is, when you purchase the converter itself, right, normally they come with female instead of male. So you will need to get this kind of pin. Okay, I know this is actually 4. I can't find the 3 pin, I only can find the 4 pin. So when you purchase this, right, extract one out, pull one pin out, so that you can connect. Then from there, right, you can actually just plug to your daisy chain fan and then to your control unit. But before you do anything, right, make sure you check on the amperage of each fan, as in like the aRGB load. That's all I have for you today, guys, and I hope I did answer some of the viewers' question or subscribers' question. Now, for those of you who are actually new to my channel, right, I have actually done a series of videos related with the SL unit and the fans. This is actually the unit, the controller, and I've actually illustrated how to actually connect your Lian Li product, things like Galahad, Strimer Plus, ST fans, and etc. So you can actually proceed on to my playlist, which I'm going to list on my top right hand corner. So head down there, right? And if you do like my content, do remember to subscribe and to click on the notification bell button. Till then, take care, goodbye, see ya.